And here we go. Recording in progress. So again, Kevin Niederauer, 10 years experience in the insurance industry, selling voluntary employee benefits through Aflac. Got to a point in my career where I felt like I was hitting my head against the ceiling, couldn't really grow anymore. The pandemic really impacted our business in a very negative way. So I found Family First Life on LinkedIn. I researched them for a very long time because I thought it was way too good to be true and didn't believe the numbers I was seeing. Started stalking Mark Mead, who is one of the original agents, now an integrity partner with the company. Went and met with him, had an awesome meeting, got really excited for the opportunity. Again, watched every podcast under the sun, and have now been doing it for a couple of months and have had a lot of success right out the gate, looking to really hit the ground running, build a team, help train people. Having a background in teaching, it's really something I enjoy doing, is helping others find success and teaching them and building other people up. So I'm really happy that you guys are all part of my team moving forward. And I think January 2022, we're going to really blow the doors off this thing. And 2022 is going to be a big year for all of us. And I'm really excited to have you guys here. So thank you all for joining the meeting today. Michael, since you're the only other one on camera right now, we'll go to you next. So tell us a little bit about you, where you came from, how you found us.
Sure. I live up in the UP of Michigan, which, in case you don't know, should be kind of attached. It's attached to Wisconsin more than it is the rest of Michigan.
Gotcha.
And how I got involved with Family First was, I'm not actually sure. You called me. So, I had my resume out there and on Indeed, and had just applied a couple places and was like, hey, you know what? I currently work for Aflac too. And I wanted just to kind of expand my market, kind of expand my capabilities to service my community better. We live in an area where there's a lot of senior citizens. Gotcha. And a lot of self-employed people who don't qualify for a lot of their other stuff. So just to kind of fulfill the need in my community, that's how I got involved.
Nice. So you're really looking to help people in your local market and, be a more valuable asset to those around you, it sounds like.
Exactly.
Fantastic. All right, Miss Andrea Ford, we'll throw it over to you next, since you and I know each other personally.
I love Kevin. That's why I'm here. So I'm Andrea Ford, and I came on board to Aflac in 2018, and I met Kevin, and he was one of the districts and helped train me. And really, like, I'm not lying, like, I love Kevin. That's why I'm doing this. A couple other things. I was a member of BNI. Sorry, that's my dog. And now I have a 3-month-old baby, so I can't network in BNI like I used to, like I want to make money. So the person who sells life and long-term disability, why don't I do that, right? So here's a way. Another point, just, Michael, since you're with Aflac, we can't provide employees, their spouses, with life insurance over 50 grand. Like, that's it. It's the cutoff. It's just a $50,000 rider. So why am I going to leave money on the table? Right. This is a way to subsidize my income. Also, my baby's small, right? So right now he's not in sports. He's not doing anything. Little swim lessons on Saturday mornings my husband can take. I don't feel like I'm being left out. So I can work weekends and nights here and there with people that I love. I meet, blah, blah, blah. Sign up to really help grow my book of business. That's why I'm
awesome. Here. Good answer. And then last but certainly not least, Ms. Christina Gessler, where are you? How are you? Fill us in. Give us your life story.
I am great. So I am originally from New Jersey, northern New Jersey, right around where you guys are. Well, not all of you, but where you are, Kevin. And currently I live in Amarillo, Texas, which is just about as exciting as it sounds. Pretty boring. And prior to doing insurance, I'm not super experienced. I started working for American Income Life about 3 months ago.
Okay.
Still currently working with them, kind of, transitioning. But before all the insurance, I was a art teacher, but there really isn't any jobs for that right now.
Right.
But I mean, and then, bartended through my entire college and everything. So a lot of customer service stuff going on. But yeah, I mean, I really started looking into life insurance, because it just provides so much more freedom than traditional jobs. And I do have a 5-year-old daughter, and I'm a single mother, so that's a little bit appealing to me, was the whole freedom aspect of it, and doing everything around my own schedule and her schedule, because now she's in school and it's a little crazy. Um, but yeah, that's I guess me.
Nice. That's awesome. So again, welcome everybody. So love one of the things that I really love about Family First is the family aspect of it. Those of us coming from the Aflac world know how competitive Aflac can be. And just the insurance world in general, what I've noticed and what I've truly felt throughout my short time with Family First Life is that everybody is honestly there to help each other. There's no competing. We're not competing against each other. It's really a rising tide raises all ships. It's the easiest way to kind of look at it, is that everybody's there to support each other. When I first started with Family First Life, nobody was there really to hold my hand. Mark Mead, I love the guy to death, but he gave me some straight up tough love and was like, listen, man, you've got 12 years experience in the insurance industry. You can do this. I believe in you. Go do it. So at that point, it was on me to kind of figure it out. And one of the things I realized that when I got to the role of being able to recruit and bring people on and start to form an agency was that I wanted people to kind of benefit a little bit more from the things I've learned and figured out and the trials and tribulations that I've gone through. It less of the throw the kid in the deep end and see if they can figure out how to swim type of scenario. So what I want to do today, as quickly as possible, just to kind of give everybody a good overview. First off, when you look at the agenda, I just want to go through some just basic resources and assets that I acquired and found on my journey to get good at this. And again, I'm not Steve Giordano writing $1 million a year. I will be, just not there yet. But in the time that I've been doing it, I've gotten much better from my first appointment to my latest appointment. And at this point, my closing ratio on sits is between 70 and 80%. Now, I don't have a large sample size, but when I'm going out and meeting people, one of the really important things that I've learned is that, and this was a big mistake I made on my first appointment, is if you go in thinking about what money you're going to make and what the commission is, you start to try to fit the client to the product and not fitting the product to the client. When you're not listening to what they need and you're not really doing a good job of analyzing their finances and their health and all that kinds of stuff, you can find yourself in a tricky situation. And that's what I ran into on my first, 1 or 2 appointments, when I was just so excited about my commission level being over 100% for the first time in my life that I was really not doing right by the client. When I started putting the client first, that's when I saw my closing ratios go up much, much higher. So aside from the resource section of the agenda, we're also going to talk a little bit about leads, getting on the phone, dialing. That can be obviously the most important part of this business. If any of you have gone through the boot camp yet, the 80-15-5 rule. 80% of this business is getting good on the phone. 15% is being good in the home. I did not mean to be Dr. Seuss on that one, sorry. And 5% is product knowledge. Like a lot of times newer agents are going to come in and fall victim to paralysis by analysis. You're going to think, well, I need to know everything. I have all these carriers now. Oh my God, I have to know every single product that every single carrier does. No, you don't. You just need to understand that at the end of the day, everybody needs life insurance. There are only so many different types of life insurance out there. I know there's a lot, but really it boils down to things like final expense, permanent products, term life products. And that's really where we're kind of, putting ourselves in the wheelhouse of. Like, we don't need to overcomplicate it. At the same time, you don't need to wait for every single carrier contract to come in before you can go out and start writing business. Right out the gate, you should be getting Americo, Mutual of Omaha, AIG, and Aetna. So far, I've only written 3 of those carriers, and I've produced over almost $40,000 in business in less than 2 months. My goal obviously is to get to a point where I'm doing 30-40,000 a month, but part-time right now while balancing a whole bunch of other stuff, it is what it is. But Americo is a great option. Mutual of Omaha has a ton of products. I love Mutual of Omaha. We'll talk a little bit about that. And AIG is literally your get out of jail free card for any individual you come across over the age of 50 who has every health problem under the sun. I have signed people up for that plan who were literally diagnosed with cancer the week before, 9 times out of 10 uninsurable. I've signed up a woman who was literally 5 feet tall, 275 pounds, had a pacemaker, and was 77 years old, and literally called herself a beer barrel. She was the sweetest, funniest lady I've ever met. But ultimately, on 99% of policies out there, she'd be uninsurable. But we got her coverage for her to leave something behind to her grandson when she dies. So that's one of the great things about Family First Life, is that we do have access to all these different things. So we are able to listen to our clients and find the right fit for them. So without further ado, and without wasting too much more of your time, let's dive into some of the resources that I was talking about. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go to my web browser. There it is. So the first thing, obviously, when you're going out to homes and you're meeting with people, is you got to have business cards, right? Now, Family First Life has a great setup where there are templates for all of the different logos and things, which I thought I had open. Here it is. So you can go here to this website. I'll show you how to get to it. And you can download all of these logos for free, and you can go out and create your own business card. There's templates on the actual Family First Life website for different business cards. You can buy business cards through FFL.com, but you're not required to, because what's great about Family First Life is you're truly independent. You know, you don't have to purchase your business cards through them. You can make your business cards whatever you want to make them. I've seen literally dozens and dozens of variations of business cards. So here's a quick version of what mine looks like. Very simple and clean. Blue is my favorite color, so I like to use blue to market myself. So it's just picture of me, which you see all over the place. It's my favorite picture, so I use it for everything. The logo for Family First, my name, my title. Now, when you're out in the field, I always refer to myself as a medical field underwriter and a life insurance broker. So like when I'm sitting with somebody, it's, I am a licensed certified life insurance broker. What that means is I can shop all the top carriers for you, all the A and A plus rated carriers, companies that have been around for 50 to 100 years, so we can find the right product for you. Obviously, all my contact info. Now, when you watch the podcast, you're going to hear a lot of people put their license number on their business card. I have no problem doing that if you're only going to run business in your state. If, like me, you live near a border, like I live near Pennsylvania. If I want to run business in Pennsylvania, it doesn't make sense to put my New Jersey license number on my business card when you're buying these things in bulk at, a couple hundred cards a clip. So I use my national producer number as an identifier on my business card. And then on the back side, what I did was I put all the carrier logos. So if I'm, talking to a warm referral, like a friend or a family member, or for, us Aflac folks, an Aflac client, I can go up to them and say, in an effort to make myself more valuable to you, my client, I've contracted with all of these carriers to be able to find you the best possible life insurance product. If you'd like a free review, I'd be more than happy to sit down with you, look at what you already have, and see if it makes sense to change you to a different carrier. If it doesn't make sense, great, you already have life insurance, keep what you have. Or if they don't have life insurance, then obviously you want to sit down with them anyway so that you can help them get life insurance. So I put this template that I made with all the carrier logos on our team Slack in the in-home channel. We're going to go through Slack a little bit as well, just because we're in the virtual platform. It's easy to share the screen and kind of touch on it a little bit. I really am trying to encourage everybody on the team to interact more, check on it daily. I'm up at 4:30 every morning. That's why some of you get texts at like 5, 6 a.m. And I'll be pumping out content all the time on there. And it's not just because I like to share YouTube videos or because I like to make your phones buzz at 4 in the morning. I find the stuff valuable and I want to share it. And I hope that it makes an impact on your business and helps you grow. And there's information there that you can adapt into making your own. If that makes sense, give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Thank you. All right, Mike, you're the man. So Vistaprint, thank you, Andrea. So Vistaprint is great. I like Vistaprint simply because when you sign up for a membership with them, they have discount codes all the time. I find it to be very affordable, but again, you don't have to use Vistaprint. Go to Staples, you can order them off FFL, whatever you want to do. So that's just business cards. Another big thing with FFL is what's called Work Spots. It's an app for your phone. Pull up their website real quick. So WorkSpots is an app for your phone that you download. And what you do is you sign yourself up for an account. Now, the account is $99 a month, which I know can sound like a lot of money. But when you really break it down, what WorkSpots does is two different things. Number one, it allows you to find a WorkSpots FFL office anywhere in the country. So if you're in Northern Michigan near Canada, you can see if there's an office near you. I know there's one in Detroit. I'm assuming Detroit's not that close, but there is one there. Then on top of that, if you're traveling, like say you're going on vacation in Florida and you want to run business for 3 days while you're there, you can find an office to go and use and print stuff and use phones and things like that. But really why it's an advantage for us is they are constantly putting out discounts on lead purchases. So for example, today there was a 30% off instant internet leads discount. I cannot tell you how much money I have saved. Actually, I can, it's quite a bit, on my lead purchases by simply having signed up for WorkSpots. Last week, I bought 105 internet leads, new and old internet leads for Middlesex County here in New Jersey. My total bill was, I don't know, like 200, 300, something like that. It was pretty high. Maybe, no, it was like 500. But with the discount I got, I saved $189. So ultimately, the subscription paid for itself. So if you're buying leads consistently week after week after week, the subscription is going to pay for itself every single time because of the discounts that you're getting. So because we're part of FFL Tri-State as our parent organization, you would mark East Hanover, even if you're out of state, as your home office. But then anytime you want to travel or find another office to go to, you can just search for offices. So WorkSpots is huge, very, very helpful, especially when you're buying leads. Next, when you are out in the field, did you have a question, Andre? No? Okay. You keep randomly turning your camera out, so I'm not sure if that means you want to talk.
All right. I want to give you positive, like facial feedback.
Okay, good. Like Mike's doing. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So one of the great things that I found early on is what's called insurance toolkits. Now, this is not FFL sponsored, but they have a deal with FFL where if you sign up for it and you use the coupon code FFL15, which again is on Slack in the resources channel, you'll get a 15% discount on the monthly subscription. Now, why this is helpful. So in the past, before this was available, what agents would do is when they were in the home, if they were relatively new, and you go through all the health inquiries. Now, a lot of times folks we're going to be meeting with have some health issues. That's why they're looking for life insurance. So you're going to see like on valsartan or they're on Lyrica or all these different medications. And unless you're a medication expert, you're going to have to do one of two things. You're either going to have to call your upline, which in this case is going to be me. And if I don't know the answer, I'm going to call my upline. Or you go to the grid sheet. Now, depending on the carrier, that grid sheet for prescription medications could be 30 pages long. So you got to go through page after page after page, find that medication, and then see if the carrier will cover them on this particular plan. It's the same thing with the health stuff. You'll see on Slack in the in-home channel, I put up the grid sheets for certain medical conditions. So on the one column, it's all the medical conditions, and then across the top, it's the different carriers and whether or not you'll be able to write them. Where Insurance Toolkits comes in is for $29.99 a month. You can literally put all of that information in and it will automatically spit back to you exactly what carriers you can write and what plans you can write. It's been game changing for me. And for $30 a month, you take one policy, this thing is paid for the month. I mean, 10 times over. Hell, you take one policy, this thing's basically paid for the year. So it looks like this. I'll actually load one of my policyholders because you can actually save somebody's information. So this is Kevin Scherner. Pull him up. Now this poor guy has every medical condition possible. I almost gave up thinking I wouldn't be able to find coverage for him because he's 44 years old, diabetic, high blood pressure on all of these medications, and he's a smoker. So right away, this is going to not be the easiest thing to find. So for him, we were looking for a term policy. And if we get quote, guess what happens? He's uninsurable, can't get a term policy. So what we did with him was we looked for some final expense, some permanent coverage. This was another guy I was doing. So let me load up Kevin again. This is the guy I sat with the other day. Insurance toolkits open. So there we go. So now with Kevin, we just wanted to make sure that he had a permanent plan in place so that his wonderful wife, Colleen, would have enough money to cover the cost of a funeral. So instead of 10K, we do 20,000 and we hit get quote. We've got all his medical stuff in there. And now I know I have 5 different companies I can write him a policy through. I can write him the CVS Ascendo preferred plan. Now it has this little orange dot, which tells me, warning, one of his medications may cause a referral to an underwriter. So there's no guarantee he'll get covered on this plan. So maybe for the extra, what's that, $14, instead of going to the CVS Ascendo plan, I'll just go straight to Transamerica with this one. Because with this one, it's immediate solution standard, so he'll get coverage. Now, what the cool little star means is that if they were an older person, if they, let's say, don't have a bank account because they're getting Social Security, they can sign up to have their premiums deducted right out of their Social Security payment, which is super cool. Some carriers are going to do that for you. So Transamerica is one, CFG is another one. So now at the same time, let's say, we're talking to somebody completely healthy and they're younger. Now let's go back to the term products. Say you're talking to somebody about protecting their mortgage. They want $500,000 in coverage and they want return of premium, and they're 1982, 39, and they don't have any medical problems whatsoever. And they want a 30-year term, get quote. There's nothing available in the state that I'm in.
Smokers.
That's right, thank you. Now I'll hit get quote again. Still nothing available for that amount of coverage. So what we're gonna do is take off the return of premium and hit get quote. And now we can write either a John Hancock or a Forester's plan. So now if we lower the face amount, so we drop that down to 300,000. And we do want return of premium, because I just like the return of premium policies. Hit get quote. Now we can write Americo, Mutual of Omaha, American Amicable. So you see how helpful this tool becomes when you're sitting with somebody? I cannot recommend it enough. So like Americo's got a CBO 50, that's 50% cash back. Americo 100 is 100% cash back. Mutual of Omaha is 100% back. American Amicable is 75% back. Now, John Hancock does have a term policy with a 75% cash back. It's not been loaded into this system yet, which is why it's also important to have all of the different carriers quoting tools bookmarked to your browser. I reached out to Insurance Toolkits and asked them about that. They said they're still waiting to get the underwriting grid sheets from John Hancock. John Hancock just hasn't provided it with to them yet, but they're hoping to have it updated before the end of the year. So just want to make sure you're aware of that. But ultimately, this tool here, especially with the first few carriers you get, Americo, Mutual, and Aetna and AIG, is super, super helpful. Okay, so any questions on that before we move on?
What was it called again?
It's called Insurance Toolkits. I've linked it on our Slack in the resources channel. It's one of the first posts I did was work spots, insurance toolkits, and the next thing we're going to talk about, which is phone burner. Yes, Mike, what's your question?
So from this, can you automatically go into, can you load your writing number for each of the different carriers and then just go right to the application from this?
It has links to the e-applications, but when you get your writing numbers, you have to set up your own login for each carrier. Each carrier has its own e-application, its own systems. Some are very similar, like Mutual of Omaha and Transamerica. Their e-application uses the same technology. So when you're filling out one, it almost looks like the other one, but everybody's platform is a little bit different. But like right now, if I wanted to go and write this, I could click e-app. It's going to bridge me over to my Americo login. And then I just log into Americo and pull up the e-application and get started. But yeah, super easy. It's kind of your one-stop shop for just being like, and here are your plan options. Now, another thing I will recommend is when you pull up all of these options, do not show the client every one of these options, because think of it this way. When you go out to dinner, if you're going to say Cheesecake Factory, right? Everybody knows the Cheesecake Factory. The menu is this thick. They have every possible food item under the sun, versus going to like a fancy steakhouse where it's like 3 choices of steak, a fish, and a chicken. Where is it easier to make a decision? When you have more options or when you have fewer options? So what I would do is, let's say after having talked to them and figured out their financials and what it is that they need, I know in my head, based on what's come back, either the Mutual or the Americo plan is probably the best fit for them. I can save them 10 bucks by going for mutual, but I know Americo has some really good living benefits like critical illness, terminal illness, chronic illness. So for the extra 10 bucks, the Americo plan is probably the better plan. So now what I'll present them with is 3 options, a gold, silver, and a bronze. The gold plan is going to be the 300,000 in coverage. The silver might be 200 and the bronze might be 100. Now, if they're saying, well, 100 is not enough to cover the cost of my house, I need the 300, but I can't afford the 300, then the conversation changes to, well, now what we're doing with the 100 is making sure we're protecting the equity you've built up in the house. So that way, when you die, there's 100,000 there, and you can decide, whether to sell the house or to continue using that money to make payments for X amount of time, so you don't lose the house right away. And you can figure out how to rebalance your life at that point, and you're not losing the equity. Because if you have nothing and you ultimately lose the house, now you're in a lot of trouble. So it's all about having that conversation and figuring out what makes the most sense for the client. But you pick one carrier, you present 3 options with that carrier: high, middle, and low, and then you ask them, which one makes the most sense to you. And at that point, you'll have a good idea of, let's say their budget was, what's this cost? $219. Let's say their budget was 150 bucks a month. Well, I know this is over budget, but sometimes people will be like, you know what, for the extra couple, I want to have that extra security. I'm okay with spending a little extra. I thought my budget was 150. I can stretch it to 220. But ultimately, you still want to make sure that they're in the understanding of, like, we want to make sure this is affordable for you. This is not something that's going to really impact your daily living and cause you stress when the holidays come, or if your transmission goes on your car. So if 219 really isn't comfortable, let's bring it down a little bit to something that is, and make sure that they're secure in that. Because, in this industry, in insurance in general, you're always going to be dealing with things like chargebacks and people who change their mind. But you can minimize chargebacks very easily by listening to the client and making sure you're putting them in the right product, and then cementing that sale at the end, which we're going to talk about later in the meeting when we go over the run day, the actual in-home presentation. I'll do a quick little demo of what I do when I'm in a home. All right. So before we move on from insurance toolkits, any other questions? Nope. Going once, going twice. All right. So the next thing you'll see on here is the phone burner. Now, again, you don't have to sign up for any of these things. I know that they all cost money. It's an investment in your business to help you grow. I can only speak for myself personally that when I got started, my very first dial day, I had a stack of leads with me, and I'm picking up my cell phone and I'm dialing, put the phone down, writing on them, trying to keep all the paper organized and everything. And it just got overwhelming for me. I am a touch OCD. I don't like chaos and paper everywhere. And it was very hard for me to keep that organized. Now, there are super successful people in this company who print out stacks and stacks of leads and simply call through them and have systems to keep them organized. For me, what made the most sense, because ultimately too, dialing the phone is not something anybody truly loves doing or wants to do, but it is, the necessity of the job. You have to do it to build your business. I wanted what was going to make me the most efficient and make me the fastest and keep me the most focused. So what Phone Burner allows you to do is literally go into your CRM, purchase your leads list, export it to an Excel file, drag and drop it into your Phone Burner, set up your dial session, selecting all the leads you want to call, press start, and through your headphones, through your computer, it'll automatically just start dialing. And as soon as somebody picks up the phone, you're talking to them. As soon as the call is done, you click hang up, the phone's ringing again to the next number. If it goes straight to their voicemail, you can pre-record a voicemail if you want to leave a voicemail. And when it picks up that voicemail, you click leave voicemail, it pushes it off to the side, lets their recording finish playing out, drops your pre-recorded voicemail in it while you're over here making your next dial. So for time efficiency, it's a game changer. My first day on the phone doing it the old school way, I think I made 40 calls in like 2 or 3 hours. It was because you find reasons to distract yourself. I made 2 calls. I'm gonna go make a cup of coffee. Oh, I'm gonna make a note on this one. I'm gonna shuffle my papers around. Whatever you can find to distract yourself with. With Phone Burner, you don't have a choice. The phone is ringing in your ear. The next person's on the line. Go, go, go. So the first time I tried using Phone Burner, it's probably about an hour, I made 115 phone calls, spoke to 25 people, and booked 9 appointments, which is not a bad ratio. And then I went out, and then from those 9 appointments, did $8,000 in issue paid premium. So to me, Phone Burner paid for itself in that first dial session. And what's cool too is that it has a bunch of additional features if you choose to, purchase those extra features. Like you can literally buy area codes for anywhere you want to call. So like for me in New Jersey, I can change my area code depending on what county I'm calling into. You can also set up text messaging. So it'll give you your own V phone number that you call from that shows up on the caller ID. And if somebody texts you or you want to text to them, you can do it right through your V phone. You have your own voicemail. So when they return a call, if somebody calls back and says, "Who is this? Why'd you call me?" I can now record that voicemail on my V phone and call them back through phone burner. So it's like having a separate business line just through your computer, because a lot of times what was happening to me is if I called somebody and they called me back on my private phone, on my cell phone, and I didn't have their lead card in front of me, they'd be like, "Who is this? You called me." And I'd be like, "Well, who is this? I don't know your number." And then they just hang up on me. Whereas now if they're calling back and I'm not answering, but it's going to my voicemail, and now they leave a message saying, "Hi, you called me. Who is this?" I automatically see who it is because it's from my contacts list on PhoneBurner. So the site I'm showing you here is phoneburneragencytraining.com. Again, also linked on Slack. This is a special site just for FFL agents because, again, they're giving us a 30% discount, which they don't give to any other company other than Family First Life. And it's packed with training videos on how to use the website. So this is just where you would sign up. This is where you get training, and it breaks down the cost of everything. This is what it actually looks like from the user standpoint. So when I'm logged in, there's my handsome little face in the corner again. I can go to my contacts and pull up the contact lists as I have them organized by lead type and by county. You can organize your leads however you want. So for me, I have mine broken down as my CRM final expense leads for Somerset County, my CRM internet leads for all the counties that I've run in, my CRM mortgage leads. And then up here, I used an outside lead company called Bang Bang Leads because WorkSpots was offering a 50% discount. So I ended up saving almost $500 on leads on that one purchase. And I've closed 5 clients out of that one already. And I'm still going back to those leads when I'm in the area, door knocking them to try and set up additional appointments. In fact, I have one tomorrow at 1:30 from a door knock, which I'll touch on that in a moment. So then what you do is, let's say I want to call Middlesex County. Now it's going to open up my Middlesex County contacts list. It's probably a little slow since we're on Zoom and it's recording this. I've got 276 leads in here. I can select them all, hit begin dial session, and then you can't see it because it just opened up in a pop-up. So let me do this, new share. There's the pop-up. So then this is what the pop-up looks like. And then you can literally upload your own phone script into here. So when you're making your dials, your phone script is on the screen, as well as all the information from that lead. So I see Mary Johnson, her address, her phone number, all the information she filled out, date of birth, favorite hobby is knitting, her favorite color is blue, she's looking for 100,000 in coverage, whatever. And then I have my script right there that I can just read right off the screen. The other thing you can do is pick your caller ID. I can put my own cell phone number, or I can put my V phone number. You can choose a voicemail recording. Like I recorded one that I call basic, which just says, "Hi, this is Kevin calling you from the benefits office about the request you submitted. Please call me back." Done. And then there's 2 modes of dialing: power and pause and preview. When you do power dialing, it's just automatic. The second you hang up, the phone is ringing again. When you do pause and preview, you can, after each call you hang up, it will not auto dial the next one. So you can call the same number over again 2 or 3 times, or you can see what the next one is before it starts dialing. So it's basically just pause and preview. Instead of going 90 miles an hour through, you have the ability to kind of give yourself a second to stop and breathe. That makes sense? Okay, good. So that's Phone Burner in its most simplistic form. I do recommend, if it's something that you're going to look into, definitely check out like the trainings and everything on it. It's super, super helpful. And like I said, I use it every time I'm doing dials. It's just a much easier way to keep track of everything. So now back to the internet. Some other resources. What I did in the beginning was, when you go through the boot camp, they talk about the phone scripts and all this, and I was having issues downloading them. So I went out there into the ether, into the internet, and tried to find all the phone scripts, all the trainings, everything I could possibly find. So what I found out of all my research was there are 2 websites that are really, really good, FFL websites, that I highly recommend you go to and check out. Number one is from our very own Stephen Giordano, part of FFL Tri-State. He is the Executive Vice President of Family First Life Health and Wealth. If you're not familiar with who he is the company record holder for most issued paid personal premium in a year. He started with FFL in the 4th quarter of 2019 after a decade or more in the hospitality industry, saw the opportunity here, and in 2020, during a pandemic, global pandemic, wrote $1.3 million of personal issue paid premium. Now, granted, he's in Florida. There's a lot of old people in Florida to sell life insurance to, but the guy really hustled. I mean, he worked his butt off, and he's actually going to be at our fall sales conference in New Jersey next week to talk about like what his schedule looks like and stuff like that. But I highly recommend checking out his website. He packed this thing with information for you. So he does a whole section just on leads. There's training videos. Eventually, when I build a website for our team, I plan on just copying a lot of what Steve's done. There's a whole section just on dialing with dial trackers, objection workbooks, scripts. There's a whole section just on product. So if you're like, well, I want to know more about product, I put some product stuff up on Slack, but he's got links to all the Americo stuff, Prosperity, American Amicable, John Hancock, a whole bunch of resources there for you. In-home presentations, what else? Compensation, recruiting, training. So there's tons of info from his team site. And another one is Grady Polson. If you're not familiar with Grady, Grady is an integrity partner. We'll talk about integrity at the end of the meeting. One of the largest agencies within FFL. In the month of August, his team did 4.8 million in issue paid premium. And his website, again, jam-packed with information, quoting tools, phone scripts, presentations, leads, like everything you could possibly think of. I actually got a lot of information from his site. And then again, because there's so much free info out there, especially on YouTube, what I did was when I found somebody who did a really good training video or something, I reached out to them direct through the Facebook. Facebook is where so much of the business is done now. When you're on Facebook, I highly recommend joining all of the different Facebook groups. Serve the People is the one that we're mainly a part of. That's Mark Mead, FFL Tri-State. But I also joined the Family First Life USA. That's Andrew Taylor. He's the biggest agency in FFL. I think his agency did like 18 million or something in a month. It's ridiculous. Grady is actually underneath him. I joined FFL Northwest. That's Matt Smith. He's another one of the integrity partners, one of the original agents of FFL. It's another one. Priority Life National Finance. This one's very long. That's Nick Ayala's group. And the reason I joined all of them was not because I'm crazy. I mean, I partially am, but it's because, again, with the whole rising tide raises all ships, seeing the success of people all across the country from all different backgrounds really cemented what this company is all about and how people are able to change not only the lives of the clients that they're meeting, but their families and themselves and the people they're bringing into the business. It's the best opportunity out there. And it blows my mind when I see, a 19-year-old kid who, a year ago was sleeping in his car, just hit 400,000 in issue paid premium for the year. And we're not even done with the year yet. I mean, it's crazy what people are able to do in this company if you're willing to just use the system, study in your own time, and put in the work. It's a very simple business model. Buy leads, book appointments, help people, get paid. It's really not rocket science. That's what I love about it. So definitely get on Facebook. I pinned every one of these. So now my entire Facebook feed is nothing but Family First Life. So definitely do that. The other thing is YouTube. Like I said, there is so much out there on YouTube. Subscribe to the channels, especially Tri-State, because that's our team. And you can watch this awesome video with yours truly on it. Plug, plug, plug. And then I also did FFL USA. That's another channel I subscribe to. Great training videos on there. Grady Polson, that's FFL America. Great training videos on there. Like Christina, I know you mentioned, being a single mom. Like you should follow Caitlin Blackburn and chase everything she does, because just like you, she's a single mom. She just hit executive vice president in like 6 months. She's already built a team. Her agency logo is a beautiful silhouette of her and her daughter walking hand in hand on the beach. And she's already hit Hall of Fame in a 6-month period. She's the #1 agent in California. And I'm in a video, she said, all I do is buy leads out of the CRM. I invest in my business and I work really hard. There's no secret. She doesn't have a call center making appointments for her. It's really just using the FFL system and doing it over and over and over again. You know, rule of thumb is the more you do something, the better you're going to get at it. You know, practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes better. So the more you do it, the easier it becomes. For the 3 Aflac people in the room, first day at Aflac, you couldn't present an accident plan, but the more you did it, the easier it got. And now you can roll out of bed and talk about an accident plan, right? It's the same thing with Family First Life. You just have to get up, get on the phone, and get to work and do it over and over. It's just like riding a bike. You got to fall down a couple of times before you figure out how to ride the bike. All right. So that's the Facebook stuff. The other thing that's huge, and I still recommend everybody getting comfortable with doing an in-home face-to-face sale first before you start dabbling in the world of the virtual sales. But FFL this year came out with an entire virtual platform, an entire training on doing everything virtual. We live in a COVID world. People are buying cars virtually. People are buying homes virtually. So of course they're going to want to buy life insurance virtually. And it opens up the doors in such a way that borders are now erased. Like, Mike, you're no offense, but you're in North Bumblefuck, pardon my language, but you're up there. If you get licensed in any other state and get good at and comfortable at doing Zoom sales, bro, you could start selling in Tennessee. There are thousands of leads in and around Memphis, Tennessee. You could sell in Arkansas. You could sell in New Jersey. You could sell anywhere you want across the country. This woman here, Ginger, kind of piloted the whole thing for FFL and is on average doing between $50,000 to $60,000 a month from home. She lives in Utah, is licensed nationwide, and as a woman was not super comfortable going into strangers' homes late at night. And she decided, I'm going to really focus on the virtual thing. Now, there are pitfalls with the virtual. Typically, you're going to have to buy twice as many leads. It's not easy to cement people down for a virtual meeting. It's very easy to blow off a virtual meeting than it is when somebody's standing at your front door. So while virtual is a viable option, I still think the in-home face-to-face is still it's what the company was founded on. Oh, Jesus. Pause. Hey, Andrew Taylor. It's still what the company was based on and founded on. But the ability to do over the phone, over Zoom, is a great way to kind of help mix it up. And they just also came out with live transfer leads, which is another crazy thing that I'm like, we are in a golden age of insurance right now for FFL. Live transfer leads are basically, you pay an exorbitant amount for these leads. It's typically between, I want to say $50 to $85 per lead. But what it is you turn your phone on or your service on, and for a given point in time, you get incoming phone calls. People who have called into a call center requesting insurance get vetted by the call center, ready to buy or ready to hear from a licensed rep, and then the call center transfers the call to you. And now you're just talking to the person, figuring out what they need and signing them up over the phone. Pretty crazy. There's one guy, I saw his video. He sets it up on dial days where he'll do his dials in the morning at 8 o'clock on a Monday till 11 o'clock. And then from 11 to 5 p.m., he turns on his live transfer system and takes incoming calls and sells. And then from 5 to 8 p.m., he continues to make new calls and sets up his run days for Tuesday, Wednesday. So now instead of only running business Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, the guy has business Monday through Saturday, which he said completely changed the way he's able to do business. So just know that there are so many options and so many things out there for you that there is no better place to be right now than Family First Life, especially because everybody needs life insurance and the amount of leads that are there, it's crazy. So that's the virtual. And then what else we got? So I talked briefly about the carrier sites and the web quotes. Basically every carrier has their own quoting tools. This is what Mutual of Omaha looks like. The insurance toolkits is a great way to run quotes, but it doesn't have every single product. So for example, with Mutual of Omaha, if you're looking for like running quotes on an indexed universal life plan, or you want children's whole life, like those types of products are not in the insurance toolkit. So it is good to bookmark the actual quoting tools for the carriers. Like this is the one for America, what theirs looks like. You pick your state, you pick your product, CBO 100, hit create, and then you go through it. It's paint by numbers. I mean, you really can't mess this one up. Just play around with it. It's just a good thing to do to kind of like get familiar with the products and the costs. And we talked about the YouTube channel. So that pretty much wraps up the virtual resources section. Who's dialing in? Admit. Hello there. Is this you, Andre?
It is.
Okay. I wasn't sure because you said you were dialing in at some point. So that's pretty much the virtual platform. Now I'm going to very quickly touch on Slack since you guys are here and I have it pulled up already. So what I'd like to start doing more of is with Slack, making it a little bit more interactive. So obviously I'm putting stuff up here all the time, blowing up your phones 24/7. But if anybody ever has just like a general question about something that they think the whole team could benefit from, go into the chat channel, throw it in there, and that way everybody can see it and everybody can participate. Dial day, again, this is all stuff to help you on the phones. There's another work spots discount. Whenever I get those, I'm gonna throw them on there so that you can see them. This is the sheet that I use to plan out my run day. So if I'm making calls on a Monday, right, and I'm setting up Tuesday and Wednesday to run appointments, to me, it doesn't matter if I have to make 30 calls or 300 calls. The number of dials is less important than is the number of appointments I'm booking. Historically, across all of FFL, if you watch all these different podcasts, the magic number is 30 appointments. If you run 30 appointments a week, chances are you'll sit on 20 and you'll probably close 10 to 15. And if you're doing that, you're going to be writing upwards of $10,000 a week in business. And everyone on the call being over 100% commission means you're making over $10,000 a week, which is upwards of $400,000 or $500,000 a year. And you're helping people, you're giving families what they need, the protection that they need, and changing lives. That's why, to me, it's so super important to focus less on how many calls I need to make versus how many appointments I need to make. And it's very easy to say, well, I booked 5. That's a good day. I could take a break from here and go make a sandwich or watch some Netflix. But if I see on my paper that I'm staring at in front of me, the number 10, and I have open time slots available, I am now hyper focused on making sure every one of those time slots gets filled. Does that make sense? I just trial closed all of you and you're nodding, which means I'm good at this. So that sheet's up on there for you. Again, YouTube videos that I think are helpful, more work spots discounts, more YouTube videos. So if I post a video up on there, it's not just because it's fun, but it's because I think it would help you. So, find the time to watch. I watch the YouTube stuff either early in the morning, listen to it when, I'm out for a walk or at the grocery store or when I'm in the car. That's the best time to listen to the training stuff. Door knocking is something new for those Aflac folks. It's basically corporate dropping, but at people's houses instead of their business. So what's cool with door knocking is a lot of times people who won't pick up the phone for a number they don't know, if you actually show up at their house, they're very friendly. They're like, oh, I'm glad you came by. I've only done door knocking a couple of times and managed to book 3 appointments out of it. I think I knocked on 5 doors in total. So out of the 5 I knocked on, I booked 3 appointments. And one of them I wrote so far. The other was rescheduled twice, and the other I have to do tomorrow for the first time meeting. But it's super easy. It's not difficult. If you use something like the Road Warrior app and you're out running appointments, you can literally map out a route with extra leads and say you go to an appointment, somebody blows you off, but you have 10 or 20 more leads in that town. Go stop into those homes and knock on the door and say, hey, my name is Mike. I've been trying to get in touch with you. My company sent me out as a courtesy to make sure you're okay. You had filled out this request for insurance. I can either sit with you for 10 to 15 minutes right now and give you the information, or I can come back later today around 4:30. Which one works better for you? And book the appointment. See?
I use that app and it works really well.
Thank you, Christina.
Yeah.
I love that app.
I do from time to time a decent amount of door knocking. There's a lot of new building going on here in Amarillo.
Yeah.
So what I thought was wise was go to all these new like housing, little developments, and
Yeah.
people just moved in there. They just bought their home. What can you
Mortgage
sell them?
protection. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Get
So
them,
I just
girl.
go from door to
Love it.
door, and as soon as I got one person to get insurance with me, I use their name as a reference for like the entire area. I'm like, oh, your neighbor, this person just got insurance through me. Can we help you out too? And it works pretty well. I think I've done about 15 door knock sales in the past
Nice.
3 months.
Girl, you're killing it. I love it. That's amazing.
But yeah,
Did I
just
lose you?
about that app. That app is
Okay.
awesome. That app is pretty good.
Nice. Keep up the good work. That's an awesome story. Man, now you got me even more pumped up for door knocking. I'm gonna go do some more door knocks tomorrow in between appointments. And then the general channel on here is just general announcements. That's where I'm gonna put up like training calls. I want to start getting more consistent with the training calls. Now that we did the one in person and I've now done the Zoom one, I want to do at least twice a month, possibly weekly. I'm still trying to figure out the logistics of it. Zoom calls with the entire team. So that way everybody can be on together and I'm not trying to break it up into in-person, not in person, that whole thing. And then the in-home, I just posted this up today. This is about the binder that I use when I do an in-home, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. And then everything else that would pertain to doing an in-home meeting. This right here is a great video from Stephen Yee. He's the executive vice president of FFL SkyPoint. After watching this video, I actually reached out to him through Facebook and asked him for his financial inventory sheets, and he emailed them to me, which was pretty cool. It's another thing I love about FFL, like guys who are been killing it for years will still talk to a brand new agent, even if I'm not in their organization, if I need help. Like, it's really cool. So definitely check that out. And then I obviously put those two forms up there for you. Motivation, I have to put more stuff in, but it's just stories from successful FFL agents, other motivational things. Product knowledge, I'm starting to dump more resources into. This is a video on taking an e-application for Mutual of Omaha, kind of walks you through. There's a video about the Aetna product. This is the entire portfolio for Mutual of Omaha. So rather than you guys having to go to the carrier sites or Google for it, whenever I find something, I'm going to put it up on here so that way you can find it easily. Random, there's really nothing in there. I think just this one funny image that I found. Resources, again, is your more basic stuff like insurance toolkits link, phone burner link, work spots, get on work spots, the link to health and wealth, the link to FFL America, the comp guide, so that way you can know what you're getting paid based on your level for which products that you're writing. This was super cool. This is, it's kind of morbid, but still helpful, knowing what the cause of death are for different ages. So that way you can kind of have that conversation when you're with somebody. Like, I was with a couple who wanted insurance to cover the house in case they died, but because of health reasons, we couldn't get them more than $250,000 in coverage. But based on their age, I said, listen, where you're at right now in life, your number one risk for death is not heart attack, stroke, cancer, et cetera. It's accidental. So why don't we do this? You have 250 of regular term life insurance. So if you do die from a heart attack or something, you're covered. But let's pair that with an additional 250,000 of just straight accidental death. It's an extremely affordable policy for you. It's an extra $30 a month. And now you're covered for the full 500,000 if God forbid you died in a car accident coming home. Does that make sense? And of course they agreed, and we got them the coverage they needed. So definitely a good thing to know is the grid sheet for death. This is the FFL training schedule. This should be getting emailed out to everybody, the training schedule from corporate. There's a lot of videos and calls that you can jump on to, learn and get better. Run day rundown. As you are writing business, it is very important to track your business, not for the fact that we're trying to babysit you or, see what you're doing, but because you're writing so many different carriers. If you want to move up in the company and get bonuses and titles and different things that are afforded to high level producers, they need to know what you're writing. So you have to report your numbers every week. Like I know with Tri-State, they give out free leads if you hit a certain level on a weekend. So whatever you write from Friday to Sunday, you want to submit that here at the FFL Tri-State Weekend Submit link. And anything you write from Thursday to Wednesday, I know FFL runs very strange weeks, but Thursday to Wednesday is the week. You want to submit that on your FFL tristateagent.com submit. Okay.
That's literally how that's the other company that I work for right now.
They do
That's
the
how
same thing?
it too. Thursday
It's
through
so weird.
Wednesday.
So weird. I don't know why that
It
is. So yeah, so same thing here. It's Thursday to Wednesday. So make sure you're submitting your numbers. It's real simple. It's how many appointments did you have? How many did you actually sit with? How many did you close? How many policies did you write? And how much premium was it? That's it. Nothing crazy. So if I ran I booked 3 appointments. I sat in 2 of them. I sold 2 of them, and I wrote 6 policies because I did 3 policies in each of those meetings, and I wrote $8,000. Boom, submit. Not hard to keep track of. Okay. And that is that. And then the virtual sales is just more stuff on virtual sales. And then welcome to the team is obviously when your brand spanking new. Step 1, going through boot camp, and then lays out like what else to be doing when you first get started. So that's the power of Slack. We can all DM each other. Like, it was cool seeing in the meeting yesterday. A couple of our team members were like, yeah, hit me up on Slack. I'm like, all right, look at this. People are talking to each other. This is what I wanted. I wanted to build a team of sense of community where people can help each other. So it's not, you don't feel like you're out on an island, especially when you're in, North Bumblefuck, Michigan. I got you, Mike. I'm here for you. We're
How
all
many
here
people
for you.
are in FFL Garden State?
Right now we're up to almost 30
Okay.
and still growing. I'm meeting with a couple of new people next week. I got a couple of phone interviews I got to do later today. And then there's a couple of folks who are brand new, and they're also starting to recruit and build their own agencies. So it's really exciting what this company allows us to do and how you can really take charge of your business. Yeah, I love FFL. It's awesome. It's a whole lot better than the duck, that's for sure. All right, so
You had to throw that in there, didn't you?
it's I'm sorry, I'm just very bitter at the moment about the duck. If one more person calls me to send in projections by whatever time, I'm going to tell them to go jump off a bridge. All right, last thing I want to show you guys in regards to dialing is, if you haven't already started messing around with it, is the CRM. Because this is where you're going to, in the beginning, obviously do most of your lead purchases is going to be through the CRM. So, okay, there's a couple of ways you can get to it. I just bookmarked it, but if you go to FFL familyfirstlife.com and you log in, there's a link for the CRM right there. But when you first get into it, now, yesterday I tried doing this in front of everybody and the site froze, which made me look really bad. So hopefully it doesn't do that for us right now. Baby Shark. My son's obsessed with Baby Shark, so that's my reminder of the password. Baby Shark. Sorry. So when you get in the left-hand side here, first thing you're gonna do obviously is click Order Leads by Cherry Pick Leads, and this is where you'll be able to scan the map of the U.S. to see where you want to buy your leads. So let's go to now, Christina. You're in Amarillo, you said?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go check out Amarillo. What county is Amarillo in?
It's like in the top, like in the middle of nowhere in the Panhandle. Yeah, up there somewhere. Potter. Yeah, that's the county.
Potter County.
Yeah.
So you click on Potter County. Now, even though you're saying you're in the middle of nowhere and the leads are not red, so again, the way this works is like a weather map. Red means it's very dense, it's hot, there's a lot of leads. Green, it's a little cooler. Yellow, right in the middle. But even still, you have right now 68 instant internet life leads. Instant internet life leads. These are people who have filled out a life request within the last day or two. Then you have new internet life leads. Internet life lead 1 month. Internet life leads 3 months.
What does new internet life lead mean?
So a new internet life lead is, these leads consist of customers that requested a quote for term or whole life online. These are already discounted so much that we do not accept lead credits. All sales are final. Unit cost $9 a lead. So chances are it's just a little bit older than an instant lead, because the instant leads are $11. These are $9. Then you have the 1 month to 3 month. These are $4. Then you have the 3 month to 6 month. These are $3. So as the leads get older, they cost less money. I will say, oh, wow, you even have instant Facebook leads. Those are awesome. So these are people who literally saw an ad on Facebook, filled it out, and are requesting life insurance. And this is all in your county, which is pretty cool.
And I'm very familiar with doing the Zoom appointments, because we do a whole lot of those. So I know Dallas is just like the Mecca in Texas, essentially. So
let's look at
I
Dallas
actually every once, like, I think Let's see, was it?
That's a lot. They
I'll
got
go.
5,000 in
I'll go to
Dallas.
Dallas. I mean, it takes 5 freaking hours to drive there, but like,
Well, that's the cool thing too with FFL is that there are so many successful agents out there that make their money on travel trips. I mean, if you look at the state of Arizona, right? Yeah, let's pull back for a second. Arizona does not have a ton of leads at all, right? But some of the biggest agencies in FFL come from Arizona. Why? Because their agents fly all over the country. I'm not saying you
Vegas,
guys have to
LA.
do that. Exactly. But they're flying to Columbus, Ohio. They're flying to Missouri. So if you're willing to travel or you have the ability to travel, it's just another option. Like one of the
I'd
agents
have
on
to
our
be
team,
licensed though, right? In that state.
that's the key. Yeah, you do have to be licensed. So like there's an agent on our team, Wayne, who his daughter lives in Los Angeles. And he didn't realize that he could run business anywhere as long as he was licensed. And I said to him, like, Wayne, you could literally take a month every year, fly out to LA in the winter months, spend time with your daughter and run business while you're out there and end up making more money than you spent to get there. He was like, that's amazing. So, and then you look at like, you know, home state here of New Jersey, the entire state is red.
Yeah.
We have more leads than we know what to do with. So
Why did I
there's
move?
tell you, there's just too many effing people here. Like it's the most condensed state in the country. We're
Oh,
ridiculous.
I know. I lived there for like 25 years.
See, you know. All right, let's go up to Michigan. What county are you in there, brother?
If you go to Iron, it's like
Are you
you
up
just
here?
had it.
Oh my
Finish
gosh.
Down. Down.
Oh, wait, okay. I was like, you live all the way up there?
Wait. So if you
There
go
are
up
so
where you
many
were,
counties.
if you go all the way where you were, up way up top, right there,
Iron.
that's me.
Oh
That's
my
me.
gosh, though.
So yeah, so you may want to look to spread your wings a little bit. There's not a lot of leads up here, but there are some.
It's like light green.
more true. And more than likely, Mike, you're probably one of the only guys up here in this area. So you more than likely you could probably just buy all of these leads and you know see what you can run. But you know, even if you went into the neighboring counties, like depending on how much you want to drive, like what's this one? This is Menominee County. You know, they have a good number of leads, but you know, if you wanted to go all the way to Minneapolis, I don't know how far of a ride that is for you.
That's about 7 hours.
Yeah. So if you want to take a week vacation to Minneapolis, you can do that, or you can start trying to learn how to do the phone stuff because like there is opportunity around you. I mean, you look at obviously like the big cities like Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, you know, even Des Moines and Minneapolis, like there's leads around. Like if we went to Minneapolis right here, I mean, you know, in this area alone, there's 3,529 aged mortgage leads. Now I will tell people to be wary of the aged mortgage leads or the aged final expense leads. These are much older leads. People do have success with them. They're dirt cheap. I think the aged mortgage mailers, what do these cost? $2.50. But I know some people who have done like aged final expense mailers, when they called them, the person had already died because these are much older leads. They've already been cycled. Somebody bought it, couldn't close it. I'm not telling you got to spend $1 million on, you know, brand spanking new leads. The rule of thumb is usually have a good mix of all different lead types. So that way you have different opportunities in front of you. But the CRM is super helpful. And like I said, with work spots and the discounts, it's a no-brainer. And then you
Which
can.
was the new one? The new one that I keep hearing everyone saying that is good for new agents within the company they're doing really well.
The instant internet leads.
Okay.
A lot of people really like the instants. That's what I started with. And then what I found too, not just with the instant leads, was the new leads and the 1 to 3 month and 3 to 6 month. I was having a lot of success with those because what happens is the instant internet leads, even though let's say you buy 100 instant internet leads, well, you're the only person at FFL that has that 100 leads. But it doesn't mean there aren't agencies out there that got the same lead because the person filled out a card online and somebody from Farmers or State Farm or AIWL or whatever also got that lead. So a lot of times what I see happen, not a lot of times, but sometimes, is with the instant leads, they're just getting bombarded. So they're not always so willing to meet with you. Whereas the ones that are a little bit older, those calls have kind of tampered down and they still haven't bought anything yet. So now when they get that call, they're a little bit more inclined to actually take the meeting. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So like I really like the 1 month and the 3 month old internet leads, but I'll buy the instance as well. I tend to focus just on the internet leads because I never like to sound arrogant, but like I'm comfortable selling life insurance. To me, it doesn't matter if it's final expense or mortgage. I just want to go in and talk to somebody and I'll figure out what the right plan is. I'll figure out if they need a whole life, permanent life plan, or if they need a term plan. I know the mortgage protection people love because 9 times out of 10, it is a higher value term life product. I just haven't done it enough to say that I'm comfortable with it. It's something I plan on doing more of as time goes on. But as you can see, it's like, it's a whole lot different than, cold calling a business owner and trying to say, hey, let me come talk to your employees. And this is why you should buy accident plans.
I bombarded
that's
my
the CRM.
boyfriend's boss.
Did you? Nice.
I sold plans to like half of his coworkers.
There you go. So that's the CRM. And then obviously with call scripts and objections, there's so much stuff out there. I'm not going to go through it because we'll just be here forever. So last thing I want to touch on, and then we'll get you guys out of here, trying to keep you to the hour and a half that I was promising. Let me do a stop share. The
I have
in-home,
an appointment.
right?
Okay. I was talking to myself, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Like I said, I want to try and finish up so that way I'm not keeping you guys too late. Plus I got emails and phone calls and things I got to respond to. So the in-home, obviously one of the most important things. You've spent the money, you've bought the leads, you've dialed the phone. Now you have that opportunity in the house to actually sell a product, right? So a couple of points of advice that I can give, and everything I do, I've learned from watching podcasts and taking pieces from some of the top producers, like stuff from Zach Twardowski, stuff from Stephen Yee, stuff from Andrew Taylor, stuff from Mark Mead, and just made it my own. And one of the common things that I've found is you need to overcome objections before they become objections. So first thing I do when I walk in the home, number one is assume I'm going in, right? So when they open the door, I'll use Mike as my example. Hey, Mike, Kevin, nice to meet you. Do you want me to leave my shoes on or do you want me to take them off? And I'm leaning into the doorway. And 9 times out of 10, they'll say, it's fine, you can leave your shoes on. Great. Now, again, we're professionals. We don't want to be hanging out on the couch while they're watching TV and their spouse is upstairs, folding laundry or taking a shower. We need both people at the table. This is a professional meeting. So as we're walking in, hey, Mike, great house. I love your house. Do you guys have a kitchen table or dining room table we can set it? I need a space where I can set up my iPad and set up my notebook so I have room to write and take notes and fill out some forms. Where can we go sit? And now lead them to a table where we're now sitting. And then body language wise, you don't want to be too all up in their face. You don't want to be too laid back, just nice, steady posture, upright, professional. And you want to make sure where we're sitting, you're not playing tennis. You're not in the middle, husband's on one side, wife's on the other side or whatever, and you're doing this. You want to get them in one spot where they're looking at you, you're looking at them. And that way you can kind of control the flow of the conversation, right? Now, from there, how do we overcome objections? Well, the first objection we need to overcome that I ran into, and I'm kicking myself that I didn't know this sooner, is the objection of, well, I already have insurance or I have insurance through work. I lost out on a double whammy term life plan for a husband and wife because the wife said to me, oh, I'm good, I have insurance through work. And once that comes out, it is very difficult to overcome without sounding combative. So the best way to overcome it is to address it before they can say it. So one of the things I do is, if you've watched the FFL Tri-State Boot Camp, one of the great in-home presentations was from Brian Mendenhall. He's the Executive Vice President of Family First Life Central Division. He talked about his Aunt Tina and how she had work insurance, and when she got prostate cancer and she lost the insurance, and his uncle lost the house, and yada, yada, yada. I stole that story. I know it sounds terrible to steal somebody's family story about cancer, but in reality, the world of insurance, stories sell. So whether it's your story, my story, or somebody else's story, it doesn't matter. What matters is the message you're conveying. And that message is that you may think you're covered because you have great work insurance, but the reality is you don't own that plan. Your job owns that plan. And as we saw with the global pandemic, how many millions of people lost their jobs and lost their insurance? So it is so, so vitally important that you protect your loved ones by making sure you have coverage in place outside of that for when that day comes. And then you always check in, always trial close. Does that make sense? Does that sound fair? Do you understand? The more you get them in the mindset of saying yes, 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 it becomes much easier to close them at the end. So when I walk in, Hey, Mike, the shoe thing we sit at the table. Now, the first thing I do before I overcome that objection is I want them to know who I am. So, so Mike, before we get started, I just want you to know who I am. So I'm not just some random guy off the street sitting at your dining room table. I do have a name tag, but here's my driver's license so you can see I am who I say I am. Here's a copy of my insurance license. I am a certified licensed life insurance broker and medical field underwriter with the state of New Jersey. So here's a copy of my license. And what that means is I'm here to help you. I'm not a salesman. I'm not here to sell you anything. In fact, this is the company I work for or work with. Hold on a second. And this is all in my little 3-ring binder, which you can't see because I'm in a virtual background. So we're all friends now. I'm going to turn off my virtual background and you can see my awesome Star Wars lightsaber collection. Choose virtual background and go to none. There we go. Welcome to the man cave. So what I bring in a home is very simple. It is a 3-ring binder that says Family First Life on the cover. And the only other thing I bring is my iPad. Now, you watch podcasts, people bring in briefcases full of folders and all sorts of stuff. I hate paper. I'm not a paper guy. I'm a minimalist. If I didn't have to even bring this thing, I wouldn't. But the reality is you got to have some stuff with you. So ultimately, you run your business how you want, but this is just what I do. So I show them my driver's license. I show them my laminated insurance license. I blew it up because the first time I printed it, it was this big. And a lady said to me, "What is this, an eye test?" I said, "Okay, got to blow this up." So I made it really big so people won't say that. I also laminated and bring with me my vaccination card. Again, that's a personal preference thing. You don't have to do that. It's never come up, but in case it does, I'm prepared. And then the other thing I bring is my credibility sheet. Okay. And you're going to hear about the credibility sheet on every single Family First Life podcast. So again, I work with Family First Life and have access to all of these carriers. I am not a salesman. I am a broker. My job is to find you the right coverage at the right price. Does that make sense? Check in, trial close, trial close, trial close. Then from there, I go into the story of Aunt Tina and Uncle Mark and how he lost the house because she had cancer and work insurance. Now I've overcome that. Then I transition into their why. We got to know why they're meeting with us. What are they looking for? So now you know who I am. Mike, tell me about you. Like, what caused you to fill out this questionnaire online? Have you lost somebody recently? Is it just that you have no life insurance, you're looking to get some, or you have some, you want to increase it, or you just want to leave a legacy to your family? Like, well, what was the reason that you took the time to fill out that questionnaire? Now you let them talk and you listen. And now once they've given you that reason, to hammer that home, say it back to them. All right, so what I'm getting is, you fill this out because you really truly care about your wife, and the last thing you want to have happen is when that day comes, she's not prepared and doesn't have enough money just to cover the cost of your funeral. Is that fair? Does that sound correct? Yes. Trial close again. Trial close again. Give them their why back to them so that they get it. Okay. And we lost Andrea. I promise I'm almost done. This is the last thing we're going to go through. And then after that, and you've kind of built that up. Now, the most important thing to, again, overcome your objections is lay out a clear agenda of what it is we are going to accomplish today. So Mike, today we're going to look to accomplish 3 things. Number one, most important thing is we're going to try to find coverage that's affordable for you. What I mean by that is it's got to disappear into your budget, man. This can't be something that you feel stressed about or is a burden to you. It's got to be something that doesn't impact your daily living. So that way, when the holidays roll around, or if God forbid your roof starts leaking or you blow a tire on your car, your first thought is not, "Oh my God, I got to cancel my life insurance," because that's just crazy. At the end of the day, the only life insurance worth having is the life insurance that's there when you die. Would you agree with that statement? Absolutely. So number one thing is we're going to find something that makes sense affordable. So in order to do that, we're going to go through like 2-3 minutes worth of financial questions to figure out what that looks like. Okay. Second thing, we have to make sure we can get you qualified. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on simplified issue products with these carriers. What that means is this is all non-medical, no blood, no urine, no physicals, no doctors, none of that crazy stuff. A lot of times people see online or on TV, these ads for, you can get $1 million in coverage for $10 a day. But what they don't tell you in the fine print is that it's truly a fully underwritten product. It could take months to get the coverage. Typically that rate is for like Michael Phelps, an Olympic level athlete, and you're going to have physical, blood, urine, needles, doctors coming to your house, or you go into a doctor's office. They're going to do a deep dive into your family medical history, all for the sole purpose of trying to increase that rate. So why even go down that rabbit hole when today we can find out if you can get covered, and the rate we're going to show you is the rate you're going to have, and the coverage we're going to show you is the coverage you're going to have. So that's why we're going to focus on simplified issue. And in order to figure out what you qualify for, which carriers we can even look at, we're going to have to go through 5 minutes worth of health questions. Does that sound fair? Great. And then number 3, if we can find something that's affordable, figure out what you qualify for, we're going to have to submit a request today to that carrier to see if they'll even approve you for coverage. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, whether you want to think about it, whether I want to think about it, nobody cares, because neither of us have final say. It's up to the carrier to decide whether or not they will insure you. So the nice thing is, once we've submitted that request, now you got 30 days to think about it if they approve you. If they don't approve you, well, we're back to the drawing board and have to look for a different carrier. Now, in order to submit that request to see if we can get you approved, they're going to ask for, a lot of information: name, address, phone number, date of birth, social security number, banking, routing and account number, so that they can match up all that stuff and make sure you are who you say you are, that you're not trying to buy insurance in somebody else's name. Does that make sense? Does that sound fair? Okay, great. And now we transition from that. So now we've overcome the, well, I need to think about it question. We've overcome the, well, I saw a cheaper rate online objection. And we've overcome the, well, I can't afford that objection, because we've told them we're going to find something affordable. We're going to make sure that they get qualified. So even the, well, I don't think I'll get qualified. Well, yeah, well, we found something for you. And we've overcome the, well, I need to think about it. I'm not comfortable giving you my bank information, because you just agreed that that was fair and that we're going to submit a request today when I asked you, right? So laying out that clear agenda. And then from there, it's just going into the financial inventory sheet, how much money's coming in versus how much money's going out. And then through the health stuff, and then jumping on insurance toolkits, plugging in all the information, coming back with a quote, giving them a high, middle, low. Which one of these feels comfortable for you? Great, we'll go with that one. I need you to go grab your driver's license and your bank account info, and I'll start filling out the request for you. And now while you're filling out the request, you make small talk, hey, you got any hobbies? You like football? Blah, 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 blah. Because it takes like 10 to 15 minutes to fill out the stupid application. And then once you're done, the last thing that I do is I like to give them something, because at the end of the day, we're selling insurance, right? And what does that mean? We're selling them a promise. We're selling them that when something happens, we're going to be here for them. That when they die, their family's protected and their family can contact us. They don't have to worry about where's the money coming from for the funeral or to pay off the house. But when we leave, it's a transaction. We're not giving them anything. It's not like they bought a TV or a car and they have a physical good. So I give them a policy summary card that I created. The file for this is on Slack. So on here, it has the benefit amount, the effective or draft date of the premium, the monthly premium amount, their policy number. A lot of the carriers will actually give you the policy number when you complete the app, what carrier, the length of the term. So if it's a whole life plan or a permanent plan, I'll write whole life or forever. If it's a term plan, obviously 10, 20, 30 years, whatever the term may be. ROP, return of premium, yes or no. And if it's a yes, what is that return of premium? If they have a 30-year term policy, how much are they going to get back at the end of that term? $117,000. Holy cow, this thing's amazing. I'm never canceling this. Who their beneficiary is, and then the riders: accidental, critical, chronic, and terminal. I put not applicable if it doesn't apply, yes if they signed up for it. And then below that, it says in big red letters, warning: if another agent tells you that your policy is not exactly what I have shown you today, they are not telling you the truth. Please contact me. Because ultimately, when somebody signs up for life insurance, now other carriers, other agents are going to try to reach out to them and try and flip them. It's just the reality. One of the very first ladies I signed up called me and said, I get calls from insurance people all the time now, but I tell them I love my agent and I'm good. That's my girl, Carol. You tell them I got your back. And then below that, it says, my promise to you, I will always be available to answer any questions. I will always put your best interest above all else, and I will always tell you the absolute truth to the best of my ability. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. We're here to help people. We're here to protect them and their families. We're not here to, try to scam somebody into spending $500 a month on a premium that they can't afford. I'd rather somebody spend $20 a month or $15 a month if it means their family's protected if God forbid something happens to them. And then on the back, this part, This is where you really get them, especially if you read it to them. It says, this is why this is important. This is why you signed up for this. I am your policy. You and I have similar purposes in this world. It's your job to provide food, clothing, shelter, schooling, medicine, and other things for your loved ones. You do this while I lie in a safe place. I have faith and trust in you. Out of your earnings will come the cost of my upkeep. At times, I may appear to be worthless to you, but someday, and who knows when, you and I will change places. When you are laid to rest, I will come alive and do your job. I will provide the food, the clothing, shelter, schooling, medicine, and other things your family will continue to need, just as you are doing now. When your work and toil are done, mine will begin. Through me, your hands will carry on. Wherever you feel the price you are paying for my upkeep is burdensome, remember that I will do more for you and your family than you can ever do for me. If you do your part, I will do mine. And that's why you bought life insurance. That's the power of your life insurance. And then the last thing I do is once I know their policy's been issued, I don't ever send a thank you. I'm not thanking them for their business. I'm not a salesman. I did my job to protect them. If anything, they should be thanking me, which a lot of times they do. I had a lady give me cookies. I had a lady give me flowers. I had another person make me dinner. It's really nice. But what I like to send them is this. From my family to yours, picture of me, my wife, and my kid. There you go. He's really cute. I'm trying to get him so he's not so blurry. Yeah, there he is. There we go. There's everybody. That's us. From our family to yours. And then on the inside, it says, congratulations, your application has been accepted. We appreciate your vow of confidence and look forward to helping you with any additional insurance needs. And then there's a whole section on what to do next. And then if you have any questions or concerns on the following, call me. Increase in coverage, adding additional policies, coverage for your spouse, kids, or grandkids, safe money retirement planning, because we can do annuities. And then in the top blank part, I will write a simple thank you that basically just says, thank you for trusting me to be your insurance agent for life or your insurance broker for life. If you need anything in the future, please reach out. Kevin, that's it. No, not thank you for your business, not thank you for paying me, not thank you for helping me feed my family. It's thanks for trusting me. And I'm here for you if you need me. That's it. So that is my in-home from start to finish. It's not, rocket science. I'm not special by any means. It's just what I've learned and taken and made my own from watching all the podcasts. And eventually, maybe I'll record my own podcast, and you guys can learn from me that way too. So, any questions?
Yeah. Do you have example? You said you have that stuff on Slack because you still got other guys' stuff. I'm going to steal that stuff. Let's
absolutely. So that's what this whole business is about. Find a good idea, take it, make it your own. So yeah. So if you go to the in-home section on Slack, and if you don't have Slack on your computer, definitely put the application on your computer. I find it's much easier to interface with on my MacBook than it is on my phone. If you go to in-home, the very latest post is my credibility sheet, the notebook cover, the policy summary, my business card example, the funeral cost. I forgot also to put on there oh no, I did put the policy summary. Okay, good. Yeah, that's on there. The back of my business card, all that stuff is on there now, as well as if you scroll up, the final expense and term grid sheets, the final expense and mortgage protection, client inventory sheets, all that stuff is on there.
Okay, great. I'm looking now.
All right.
Make sure I can see it here.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's called, that's your policy summary. That's
Yep.
what it is.
It's just a Word document. So you open it up Microsoft Word, you can change it however you need to change it.
Cool.
All right. All right, guys. I appreciate your time. I look forward to having more meetings with everybody. I'm going to, like I said, I'm trying to work out the kinks. I want to make something consistent that everybody can get value out of. Especially once people start producing, I want to be able to say look what so-and-so did last week and throw some numbers out there so people can, kind of get excited at what everybody's accomplishments are. So as time progresses, figure we'll have some more sporadic meetings throughout the rest of this year, but come January, I'll have a full-on schedule in place for everybody. Sound good?
Sounds good.
I'm good.
All right. Now, if you guys need anything, please don't ever hesitate to reach out. You call me, text me, email me, DM me on Slack, send a carrier pigeon, whatever. I don't care. All right, guys.
That was a Michigan joke, wasn't it?
It was. Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it. Listen, have a great weekend. If you need anything, give me a shout.
Thanks.
Will do.
Bye.
Bye.
You got it. Bye-bye.